Welcome to the Ref Room. Hockey talk for referees, coaches, players, and fans.
Broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
With your hosts, Scott Smokin, Silz, and
now?
Brad Baumruck.
Live.
The Ref Room starts right now.
And now your host.
All right, welcome everybody. Oh, the music didn't go away. What happened there? I don't know. Anyway, it's been 2 weeks. I must be out of touch here. Welcome back to the Ref Room. I am Scott Smokin Silz, joined by our referee-in-chief, Brad Baumruck. You didn't used to be referee-in-chief 3 years ago when we started this show, but now he's busy as can be, so.
Yeah, sorry. You know how it is. You know, it's been fun. It's been a ride. Let me tell you. We're almost through the season, so I'm excited.
You know, last week we took off because you were beat because you were up in Detroit for playoffs. You want to talk about that a little bit? See some good games, I'm sure.
Yeah, we went up there and we worked AAA playoffs. The games were all really good. I think we had 2 or 3 upsets. I mean, it's amazing how playoff hockey can work when they get into the pool play. And the team that, you know, I know is supposed to be the heavy favorite, you know, by like 4 or 5 goals, comes out and wins 1-0, which is quite awkward and also quite very interesting at the same time. And it makes for a great time always. And, you know, I had a blast.
I had a playoff game yesterday. I think this is the 3rd time I have seen this team lose in overtime in a year. Mm-hmm. And they're so good. But, man, I felt bad for them. I felt bad for them because they just can't get over that hump where they play their heart out and hang in there and killer.
Yeah, sometimes the hockey gods have it out for you too.
Yeah.
I don't know what
the
that
deal
is. I don't know where it comes from, but it's very weird.
There's some really good hockey, though. I mean, this past weekend, I saw some great games. Whether I was supervising or whether I was actually working the games, I saw some good hockey games. And, I think you do see some upsets, and you can really see the amount of pressure on the players. You can see the passion. I mean, I supervised a squirt game yesterday, and I saw those players come off in tears after the game. I mean, I don't know. Is that the pressure from the parents? Is that the pressure from the coaches? Or is that the pressure they put on themselves at that age? At that age, they are so gung-ho to win, and it's everything to them. You can just see it. I mean, they played their hearts out.
Yeah, I think it's a combination, Scott. It's funny because our boys won in overtime yesterday. They so the series that they did. Thank you. It's not my congrats. They're over there doing something.
Proud papa.
The interesting part is they did they do a 1-1 series, so they do a 2-game series, and then if they're split after that, then they play a full period. So they play a mini game, and that's the one that determines it. Oh. So they went through the whole mini game 1-1, and then they went into overtime, and they ended up winning in overtime. So
wow,
it's
pressure,
it's
baby, pressure.
Yeah, and that's the first time I've ever gotten off games to see my kids' games. I'm going to see Friday because they're playing in the finals. So, it's sometimes I can't miss it, which, it's not always, but this one I can't miss.
Yeah, well, I know we want to talk about a couple things today. You have something you wanted to talk about. That is the road to the Nationals for players and for referees. There's a couple other things I think we're going to end up talking about and just kind of hitting on stuff because we haven't been on for almost 2 weeks now, so we got lots to catch up on. Brad and I usually talk regularly, and I think it's been about 10 days since I've even spoken with you. So
I haven't talked to my normal
we
people.
Like to hang out. What can I tell you? We got some people checking in. Let's see. Joe Prescott, hello from Quebec, not Quebec, Quebec. Wow. Yeah, he's up in Quebec. Good for you, Joe. Get some of that Molson while you're up there. Yeah, I know Joe likes Molson. So do the rest. I've only had it once because of Joe. So, used to seeing Labatt's here. Anyway.
Molson's hard to find. That's why.
Yeah. It's good stuff, though. All right, we got another person checking in. Let's see what this one is. I have a question. If a player gets a major 5 minutes and a game misconduct, does someone have to sit the 5 minutes? How's Frankie today, Scott Silz? Oh, hey, Alan. Good to hear from you. Frankie's doing great. I'm sure she's right next to me, as always. So to answer your question, the player, if it's youth, somebody has to sit the 5 minutes. If it's adult, they don't have to sit the 5 minutes. And if they're bounced, let's say it's a coincidental, nobody has to sit it because it doesn't mean anything at that point. It's a moot point, so they can both leave the game and nobody has to get in the box for them if it's a coincidental in that situation. But in an adult league game, so this is probably what you're asking about because I know you do a lot of adult league, Alan, it would be they don't have to put anybody in the penalty box for 5 minutes, but I believe they can't substitute a player onto the ice when the 5 minutes expires. They have to wait for a whistle unless they put somebody in. Now, 4 minutes in, if they want to put a guy in the box, he can come out of the box, and you're back to 5-on-5. But
so they don't have to start in the box,
right?
So, but they have to be placed in the box during the course of that 5 minute major at a stoppage. They can't jump over the middle. They can't walk through over to the other bench.
Oh, but it's men's league. What's the difference? I got here late. I'm just coming on the ice to go to my bench.
Yeah. You can't have that, and you can't climb on the bleachers because I saw that in a junior game once. They had the rink had like those rollout bleachers.
Yeah.
Sort of like big events. They would take the boards down on that side and they would move it over, and there was a stage on this other side. So they would have this. Well, all of a sudden during play, I'm lining, and I see a guy. and he's scaling. He's up on the wall. He's got his toes on the the one riser, and his fingers up on the other, and he is shimmying behind the glass between the two pieces of bench to jump into the back of the bench. It was something else. I've never seen it before, but he jumped in there and he jumped out of the box, and I hit the whistle, and the referee's like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, he just did some Spider-Man stuff over there. He didn't get in the box legally." He's like, "Oh yeah, he never went in the box." We're like, "All right." So, but yeah, they have to get him in there before that 5 minutes expires anytime during it.
Nothing surprises me. Welcome to men's league, everybody.
Well, that wasn't men's league. This was junior.
Oh, that was junior as well.
Again, I couldn't believe it.
Surprises
I was like,
me.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I hope that answers your question. Anyway, by the way, I do want to mention, so like, the Hawks they're struggling. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
They're struggling. They're probably hoping to get something by March. I think March 3rd is the deadline for the trade deadline. I know they're trying to get something for Taves. I know they're trying to get something for Kane. I always said Kane was going to go to the Rangers. I believe Tarasenko went to the Rangers. Kane isn't going anywhere. Mm-hmm. So I'm beginning to wonder what the Hawks are going to get, if they get anything at this point, because they know they're stuck on that deal. I wonder. I was hoping they would end up with something for those guys. I'm sure somebody would like to have them. They're good players. Not knocking them for that, but
there's still 3 weeks in the season, so they could, somebody might need them for rent right near the end. So that's generally when a lot of those weird deals happen, and it's where you clean up. Sometimes you got to look at what you have and what it's worth, and wait till somebody is unfortunately vulnerable. Yeah. It sounds horrible, but that's
somebody will be. Trust me. Somebody's going to want to make a run. If they get there and they got a chance, they're pretty much going to be willing to mortgage the place to get what they need to win it. That's what the Hawks did. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. We're still paying for our Stanley Cups, and boy, they were fun to have. Trust me. But on the other side of the coin now, you got the rebuilds, and those are hit or miss, and they take time.
Yeah, they could be like
the best thing you could do is
Arizona.
probably be an expansion team, and then you get a really good draft out of the deal, because the expansion teams, look at how good Vegas is from the expansion draft, basically. They've been solid from the get-go. I mean,
yeah, well, they changed those rules, though, so
of course
it was
they
a little
did.
more difficult. Seattle's not exactly faring so well.
Yeah, they're doing what an expansion team is supposed to do, I guess. So, all right. Now, you wanted to talk about the road to nationals. So, if you're if you're a team and you're trying to get to nationals, or you're a referee and you're trying to get to nationals, where do you start?
Well, first thing is you got to have a good regular season. I mean, for players and referees, that's the biggest thing. The next thing is for referees especially to remember is we're doing our state playoffs, because everybody's going to have state no matter what, unless you happen to be in a state where they only have one hockey team, which wouldn't make much sense, because I don't know how you'd have a league at that point, but it could be possible.
Isn't that how the government in Chicago works? They have one choice.
No, it's not that bad, but
okay.
Anyway, so as they're culminating their season here during playoffs, referees need to remember that, with that emotion that you were talking about, Scott, at the beginning, that we're really not the show in this. And I don't mean to put it that way in a bad way, but sometimes we have to take things that are offensive or, said to us rather harshly, or, other things, and we kind of have to ignore it. And I don't mean flat out ignore it when it gets personal, but we need to definitely have a much thicker skin than, somebody yelling at them that, oh, you're old, or oh, you're terrible, or whatever, and they're throwing people out. If that comes into a guy being thrown out for a remainder of a game and that team gets suspended because your feelings got in the way, how do you feel about yourself afterwards?
Yeah. I can tell you that I was in a rink yesterday and I was approached because I was supervising. And so I had somebody that's a coach and somebody that's, we'll call it team management. asked me at two different ends of the ice at two different times of the day. I don't think they ever spoke to each other, but they asked me the same question. And it was with regard to a situation like that, what is the appropriate time to bounce somebody for a comment? And, I think it's a situation where, how much is abuse did the individual take before that? How sensitive are they? Are they thick-skinned? I mean, it's a different time of the year. Like these games now, this is pressure, baby. If you like pressure and you want to lose all your hair like me and Brad, then you want to work these games, okay? But it's a different time of the year. Let's not kid ourselves. There's a lot on the line, and you're going to work with partners that don't have as much experience, and they may be used to, a very strict standard of, like the kid fell down behind the goal line in the corner. That's a trip. Is it a trip? Not sure about that. Think he might have caught his edge there. He might have stepped on a stick. We
should be watching for those things always.
Yeah, it becomes, there's game management involved. And, this is chess. It's not checkers at this point, in this time of the season. And you are going to get some rough games. And guess what? These guys deserve to play. They know what they're in for. They dish out as much as they take. It's not one-sided, folks. But, I want you to talk a little bit about that, because that is still a part of the road to nationals. It may be a little bit off track like I always am. But let's talk about that a little bit, Brad, because game management is really important this time of year.
Yeah, so the best referees, and I, to quote somebody much higher than me and a little bit older, sorry, just the way it is, because it's knowledge that's passed down. The best referees are there, they referee the game, and they're immediately forgotten. So you aren't remembered. So what that means is it's a subtle way of saying the players need to decide this one. We know that you're there. If you're, refereeing a game and you're past the 10-minute mark of the third period and it's 3-3, and somebody tells you that you're an effing whatever, or they freak out and slam the glass or something like that, you might just want to go talk to them at that point. Because me personally, if I had a player that I penalized, unless it was really, really egregious with that type of game on the line at this point, I would feel horrible the next day. This isn't about me. This isn't about the players, or it isn't about the players. It isn't about the referees. It's about the players. And, it's not about the head coaches. It's not about, the parents in the stands. So we have to ignore all that and try to just focus on these players. And, yeah, if a coach is being a total jerkwad, try and figure out a way to work with them, because if you penalize them and give them a minor, guess what? You're going to end up having a penalty on the board, and you're hurting the players, which that adult, which I use the term very loosely, adult, sometimes, just caused that, and I don't feel that the players should have to suffer because of that, and that's just my own stance. And I know a referee this weekend, I was watching the game, and the player said something, he disputed a call, and I know the USA book says 2 minutes for minor. I'm with him on the decision that he made, though, and he dimed the guy. The reason why? It was a 1-1 hockey game in the third period with 3 minutes left.
Yeah. Diming him in that situation would be better, because you're not putting the team down. It's not great. You're not going to be happy, but, it would make, at least you're not penalizing the team. You're penalizing the player that did it. So
the player.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I certainly get that. Let's hope you don't get to that point. I'm not saying that we should be abused out there, but, we got to be a little bit more aware of what's on the line. Yeah. It's hockey.
Maybe a little more liberal.
If somebody says it's hockey, you got to expect some of that. It's an intense sport.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So let's keep going to the Nationals.
Yeah. So after your league playoffs, right, then everybody has their state playoffs and stuff like that. If you're lucky enough to be, there are some AAA clubs, I believe, that, they only have one AAA club in the state. Well, guess what? They automatically advance to districts. So, if they're... Yeah, it's just kind of winning the free lottery ticket. You might not have the best competition at that point because you have no other teams in your state, but regardless of that's how it works. So after the championships happen, the district playoffs happen. And the district playoffs are a culmination of the teams in the district. If you're unfamiliar with the USA Hockey districts, they're on the USA website. They'll tell you what states they are. They'll tell you who's in it, blah, 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 blah. So you can go check all that out. But the district playoffs happen. And the teams that get there deserve to be there. And that level of hockey is much, much more intense, much higher. And it's something else. Those district playoffs, I've worked them quite a few times. And afterwards, you are physically, mentally exhausted. More mentally exhausted than physically. You having fun?
Yeah, I'm messing with you.
So, that's the big thing. And then after districts, they go on to nationals. So, the teams are pretty easy. It works kind of how you would think. The
Is
officials
it black
is a
and white,
different
Brad?
process.
Is this black and white?
Well, this one is you win or lose. Thank you. Win or lose, and you move on. So, or you go home. That's just how it works. For the officials, it's a little more difficult. So, as an official in an area, you may not have local supervisors in your spot that come out and see games. So, if you're able to self-reflect, take a look at it, and go, you know what, I'm doing this pretty good. I feel I'm the best in the area. Okay, well, if you reach out to somebody in USA Hockey, there's all kinds of options that they could get you over there. But normally your local affiliate would be the best place to reach out because there are individuals that do have input in people going to like districts. So districts is selected by our district referee in chief. That's who selects the roster. So if, let's say, Scott, let's say you wanted to go work districts, right? Which are in Chicago here in March, right?
We got enough guys to go. Go. Thank you.
Well, no, I'm just saying, no. Let's just
Okay.
say I'm just going to use you as the example.
Okay.
If you're the best referee in downtown Chicago, which we have evaluators, but I'm just using a hypothetical here,
All right. Let's keep it hypothetical because that's not the case. Okay.
No. That's what I'm saying. It's hypothetical. Well, let's say nobody's ever seen Scott Silz. What should Scott Silz do at that point, Scott? What do you think?
Phone a friend.
Yeah. And you know
Get
what?
a
That
helpline.
actually.
No,
That's actually
you
kind
would
of
have
funny.
to
No,
reach
that's-
out to an evaluator. I don't know, if you don't have an evaluator in your state. I don't know if everybody does. In our situation, we have somebody that runs all the evaluations. So I would imagine you would email him or you'd email the referee in chief and look for some direction as far as where to go to get that evaluation that you need to move on.
Yeah. And now,
Have
question.
you been to
Here's
a
another
camp?
good one.
Have they been to a camp yet? Have they been to an exposure camp?
Yeah, that's another thing. That's after nationals, though.
Okay.
If that's kind of funny, But what if you don't know your referee in chief? Well, guess what? There's one person that everybody has, okay? And they're the same person that gives you the games, and they're the same person that cuts you a check. The assignment,
scheduler.
whoever it is.
The scheduler.
Trust me, they are going to know who you need to talk to. You just need to get your name out there because somebody, let's say Scott's in downtown, we've never seen him. I get an email from him, or, our evaluator gets an email that they're interested in nationals. Okay, we didn't know that. Let's get somebody out to see him. Or, maybe I'll swing by the rink if you're the assigner to see you. So sometimes you have to, be the squeaky wheel that needs some grease, and you're going to get that opportunity.
Maybe they go to Live Barn. Let's not kid ourselves. I know some schedulers that will go look at Live Barn and, tell you, hey, what games have you worked? What's a good game that you worked? And they'll watch some of that game to get a feel for if, where you are. So.
Yeah, and, I'm just saying, the best thing is, communication. You need to communicate that you're interested in nationals or districts. Districts happen first. Districts, I would feel personally, if you've never been to a nationals, get to a districts first, because a districts is a mini nationals. It's just as organized. It's just not as big a time commitment either, because it's you normally arrive Thursday night and you leave Sunday in the afternoon. Nationals starts, and it depends on the Nationals, so nobody butcher me. It's been a couple years, so I believe most of them you have to get there Tuesday, and games start Wednesday, and then I think there's like one or two that you have to get there Wednesday and games start Tuesday. But when you do a Nationals, you are not allowed to leave. You're there for the duration of the tournament, and the finals are held on Monday. So when you're there, you have to book your flight out to leave late Monday, and from the national staff, you are informed that you are to be there the entire time because let's say they have an emergency and they need that referee spot filled, and guess what? You were the next one on the list, but I hopped my plane to Dallas. That's not going to be too good. Yeah. Well, at least for you. So you have to be available for it, and that's one of the big things. So the big thing is, I personally feel with Nationals is you need to definitely self-evaluate. Go, am I good enough to do this? If you don't know, Google some of the Nationals. They have USA Hockey Nationals. They tape all of them. They put them all up. If you're interested, look at the Little Caesar game from last year in Chicago, U14s. That was the second day of Nationals. I don't remember what day of the week it was. But we had to start refusal to start play.
Oh, okay.
No.
I thought
We had to start refusal to start play.
Okay.
No. We're not going back down that tree.
Yeah.
We don't need to do that no more. So, but yeah, that's the big thing. So I think the biggest bit of advice is if you want to do something like this and you're interested in it, talk to the referees that you know. Talk to somebody that's already been there. They'll know how to get over there. So just get your advice and, move on and self-evaluate. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
So
the other thing, too, I'm just going to give you guys a suggestion, and that is if I'm guilty of it. I work like we'll call it regional in the Chicagoland area because, we got the Chicagoland area spread out where Brad is down south. I'm more central and
very
north.
south.
Yeah, and maybe a little, but now I've actually branched out. I've worked some arenas that I have not worked in many years this year, so I've actually started to be able to see some new officials and work with some new people, which has been great. Because man, we've got some really good young guys out there that are really as into it as we are, and they're just loving it and having fun, and it's great to get out and see some of these people and work with them. I worked with somebody the other night we worked a state championship pre-pandemic, and I haven't seen him since then. And I think maybe I saw him once. I take it back. I saw him once for a couple AAA games at another rink I don't normally go to. But I got to work with him, and it was a blast. We worked 3 games together, and he did a great job. So, it's exciting. We had a new guy with us that's only been doing it for like 2 years, and, he was pumped up. He had a great time, super partner. So, just a really good weekend, man. I mean, I saw some great hockey. I got up north. I had a guy I'd never worked with. He works out of Wisconsin a lot, and he was super.
Okay.
I mean, I was really excited. So
good.
Move around a little bit, guys. Take yourself out of your zone comfort level, and go an extra few minutes to a rink that you haven't been to before, or that you don't go to very often. And get the opportunity to work with some more new people, because if you did get the opportunity to go to nationals, chances are you're going to work with new people for probably almost every game. So getting used to trying to figure out what somebody's standard is that you haven't worked with before, or how they move, how they function, and how they react. It's good training for that opportunity to maybe go to the next level. So.
Yeah, and the one thing about working with new partners, Scott, is you can learn something new. Yeah. I mean, somebody takes a different angle on something of like an approach to a coach that's upset, or diffusing a player situation, or there's a lot of referees out there, and they all don't do everything exactly the same. You can learn from these situations that happen, unfortunately, in our game. Or it can happen in your game, and you can go to yourself afterwards, what could I have done differently? And then break it down yourself, and then, maybe even teach yourself a trick. So it's kind of interesting.
Well, I think, for people that have subscribed to one of those video services that are in the rinks, that could be a good training tool for yourself. You can go back and look at something that you may have called or may not have called, and and see what I kind of wish we would have some sort of a subscription through, whether it be USA Hockey or AHOA, whatever, that would give us an opportunity to get something like that at a discount at a group price, so that we could all have access to that sort of thing. Because not everybody can afford to pay that monthly fee. It's just the way it is. But, it's a nice tool to have. It's got its flaws, but, basically you can figure out some of the things if you spend enough time on there to look at things. And we don't have that luxury of having, replay or an iPad to go to and check. We are doing this live. We're doing it at high speed. And I'm just going to say this for the parents, the coaches, and even the players, because I know there are coaches that have tried to come out and referee. They've done a game or two, and they have a different appreciation for what we do. Believe me when I tell you, they will all tell you that. As much as they love to hate the vertical stripes, as Brad likes to call them.
They aren't horizontal.
Yeah, exactly. We'd all look fatter. Not fat, but fatter.
They're not.
If they
The
were
vertical
horizontal.
ones
So
aren't
with
very
the vertical
slimming either.
stripes. But the point being that, we work in a very fast-paced game, in a very small area where the players have gotten bigger, stronger, and faster, and they have technology that makes them faster and the game quicker and the puck moving faster than ever before. And it's not going to slow down, folks. Trust me, it's only going to get faster. Yeah. But, the point I'm making is it's not easy when you're doing everything live. We don't have that luxury of a review of any play. I can't even spit it out. A review of anything. And that's something that, maybe I don't think it'll change, because it would only delay the games. You would end up where, an hour and a half slot is now a 2-hour slot at $600 an hour.
Scott, who's gonna be in charge of setting it all up? So it's
I totally agree.
It's not even a realistic point.
Yeah.
So, but the other thing is how many, even when you watch a play, the video, how many are inconclusive anyways, and it still goes to what the official did anyway. So
agreed. It goes back to the call.
Why would you need to see it? Yeah. Why would you need to see it again? And then not only this, there's one thing that humans have this problem and cameras don't, and none of us can get around it. We all blink. There's nothing we can do about it. And sometimes your body, you blink at the wrong time. And you miss it.
Some guy just passes in front of you at the wrong time.
Yep.
And I'll give you a great example. I mean, I admit my faults, folks. I share them with you. I had a game the other night. I've never had this in 11 years. I had a puck iced. Puck went down. Puck was slowing down. Puck is almost on net. Is the goalie going to play it? I can't tell, because the goalie's on the far side from me, and I'm blocked out. I can't see this puck, and this puck is slowing. And now I'm like, nobody yelled, I can't see this puck. Is it across the line or not? And it almost stopped right in front of the goal line, right up against the goalie, and he hasn't touched the puck. Do you blow that whistle or not? You can't see it from the far side. What do you do?
Skate down to the goal line. If you skate down to the goal line hard, you'll be down there.
You're still blocked out because you got the goalie. You got the goalie at that point.
You
couldn't get across to the other side of the pond, basically, to get to the same side as the puck. Tough play. Haven't had that before. That was an interesting one. Fortunately, nobody lost their minds. Everybody's still sane. But yeah, that was. I don't know if any of you have had that. That's an interesting one. I have not seen that one for myself in 11 years.
If you go back and watch old footage from before they got rid of touch icing in the NHL, when you watch the linesman actually that's going to complete that icing, if it's like where you're saying it is, they actually change sides across the middle of the ice. And that happens at a lot of upper levels of hockey too, in order to have that view. But that's because you had to physically see the defenseman touch the puck or the offenseman touch the puck in order to nullify or icing. But with that being the hybrid, it almost seems like a moot point. But I get you. You could always get down there fast, and you could go behind the net if that puck is that close to that net. The probability of you getting hit is going to be slim to none because they're not going to be able to get it up that high.
You still can't see if the goalie has touched that puck at that point. That's the other part. So it was more than just the puck getting down. It was, did it touch like when the goalie went down? So the goalie's got a block of everything because he's trying to make sure he doesn't play the puck. But the puck is almost on net, and it's almost stopped. You just don't see that. How often do you see a puck that's just stopped by the goalie?
Not
unless the goalie plays
a lot.
Like,
and then not only that, 20 so years ago, I think it's longer than 20, when they changed the rule of the goal crease nullifying icing, that used to be not a problem. So you never would have had that problem. So maybe you should suggest that we bring that back in, Scott.
Yeah. I mean, we did have that before where if it went through the crease, it was no longer icing. That's before my time, but I know the rule because I just happen to know the rule. All right. I have a pet peeve, so I'm gonna get to my pet peeve. But let's say hello to a few people first because we do have some comments. Let's see what we got here. Mr. Prescott has chimed in from Quebec. Joe 4 Prescott up here with Thomas Robertson and his sons and grandchildren. Okay, yeah, we know Tom. Very nice. Say hello to him. He says, Bell Center tomorrow for Habs hosting Chicago. Toronto hosting Chicago on Wednesday. If you're going to both those games, Joe, good for you, man. I'm impressed by that. That would be pretty cool. I've never been to see a Maple Leaf game live or a Montreal game live, but that would be cool. When he said he went to Tim Hortons 3 times today. Get those coffee, coffee and donuts. Yes, sir.
When I was in Michigan, we didn't stop. I don't know why.
Michael Babcock, biggest rivalry in the state. Huge SHL semifinal on the North Shore. Do you know which one he's referring to? Because I know one team that just got to, I believe, the semifinals, but I don't know. I don't know,
Yeah, I don't know. And if it's tonight, sure. I honestly haven't even looked at hockey stuff other than reports from referees. That's the only thing I got to.
And Joe says, sorry, at the kids' house. Yeah, the kids, some of the little kids take it pretty hard. Great topic tonight, Mark, huh? You like that? Yeah, okay. I thought you might like it. So anyway, just we'll keep it going. So here's my pet peeve.
Oh, this ought to be good.
This should be good. Like you get, you used to have your little bit. We had.
You can do it.
What was it called? Brad's Breakaway. So I'm going to do Brad's Breakaway for him today.
We should pull that. Well, you should have got the slide.
Well, let me see. I might have it here. Let's see.
Scribbled out Brad and put Scott.
Yeah. There's breaking news. Let me see if I have it. This stuff is so small I can't read it. There's Buy Me a Coffee. There's a pip with Brad. I know we still have it. Oh, wait a second. Oh, look at that.
There it goes.
Look at that. It's time for Brad's Breakaway, but Scott's going to do it today.
Scott, though.
All right, Scott's going to do it. I'll get my rant on. That's actually a good slide, man. I like that. We haven't used that in a while. All right, so we'll go back to this. Or should we go to the animated one? Because this one is cool. Yeah, but then I got to adjust you because you're sitting in the kid's chair. So we'll take you back to the big boy seat.
There, that better?
Yeah. I love when teams sit on their bench. When a coach has command of their bench and the players are sitting down, I think that's awesome. I think it sends a message. It says this team is not in a panic mode. They're not losing their minds. They're sitting on the bench. They're not all over the place. And when you're working 3- and 4-man hockey, there's no room over by that bench on that blue line. Now, I get players stand up. But my big pet peeve now, and I think USA Hockey needs to do something about this because I got to think it's a problem around the country, not just here. The players now, they used to have their sticks and they'd be on the bench and they'd be there and, maybe they got a glove hanging over. But we now have guys with sticks 3 feet out across the boards. it's almost like you've got 6 or 8 obstacles, spikes to work around. In addition, yeah, I know. Yeah, you're pushing them off all day long. Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. They're deaf. It's deaf ears. It's a serious injury potential for the officials because stick blade sticking out, really easy to take one in the eye or the mouth when you know you have somebody come up the boards and now you're going to go across 8 sticks coming back as you're trying to bail out of there. And I think it's time for them to do something about it. That's my opinion. That they need to be on the bench, in the bench, not.
All right, I got a solution for you.
You're going to come back with one, but this is what I'm giving you. And by the way, if you guys are watching and you work 3 and 4 man, please put something in the comments because I would love to see what you guys think about this. Do you think it's a safety hazard for the official?
I don't think the sticks are as much as a safety hazard as to where they hang their leg over the boards when they're not coming out. And they're like anticipating coming out, but it's not going to be for like 20 seconds. It's like, will you get your foot in there? Your leg and foot is right where my hands are going to be going by.
Yep.
Like, or if I have to jump on the boards, but I got a solution for you. So here's what we're going to do. Every arena has to build in the corner of each bench like a circular, I don't know what you call it, a pipe or whatever you want to call it, okay, a box. And when the players get off, they got to put their sticks in there. And they got to try and figure out which stick is theirs when they jump back out. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. That way you'll have no more stick problems.
Don't be mocking my Brad's breakaway today.
Hey, so number 1, we'll have that, and number 2, when they start hanging over the boards, okay, totally, we'll just say they can only go through doors, and we'll put glass up. I'm with you though on the sticks though. I just normally go by and push it, and if I have a repeat offender, I'm like,
repeat offender? Are you kidding?
Sticking.
It could be the same 12 guys 12 times during the game because nobody pays attention, could care less. And you keep, guys, please.
I had like 3 guys poke me in the head.
I'm polite about it.
They were like, sorry.
I'm not even a jerk about it. And, you know, I can go there, but I don't. I try to be nice. Hopefully it'll work by being nice. It doesn't work. But anyway, that's just the way I feel.
That was a good one. That was a good one. I'm with you 100%. I like it. I get it.
Let's see what Mr. Bialco says. Mark Bialco. With live burn and iPads, video review is possible on some calls. Could be the difference in a game. Give them 2 challenges a game. Mark, we'd be going from a 2-hour game to a 3-hour game at that point because, you know, it's 15 minutes to wait for the video to show up, A. B, you got to hope you got a good enough internet connection. So, you know, it might be a half hour before we can look at that challenge and give you, give you our opinion on it. So what do? You get a supervisor there for every game, and 30 minutes later he'll come down with his decision, and we'll roll the clock back and go? Or
yeah, that's what we're going to do. Yeah, it's just, it's not plausible. It just really isn't. Unless, you know, every rink put in all kinds of cameras and stuff, and that iPad was there, but the thing is then, what views do you get? Is every rink going to be the same? There's just too many variables. Like,
honestly,
you know, in the NHL, the cameras are on the same side and the same line at the same position, above, they're at the same spot and the same. So, you know, the NHL and, you know, levels of hockey that use those are much more wealthy, let's put it that way,
it's a permanent install too. They are not putting that stuff in for every game, and that would not be practical. It would have to be permanently installed in each arena.
Yeah,
and you know,
if you know what happens to things in arenas,
the video equipment that we have for games now, it's still very inconsistent because it follows play or it doesn't follow play. Exactly, and you know, you're a long distance away. You're not up close. You know, you don't have the ability to freeze and bring back and forth.
I got a good one for you, Scott. I got a good one. So my kids were playing in Notre Dame, so the actual college arena, right? So my kid scores this really, really good goal. Like, it was, you know, I don't go on and go pull his videos every time. You know, this was one that I wanted to have, right? So I go in there, I open it up, right? Thank God I saw it in person. He was about this big on the screen, because the camera might as well have been in Chicago. It was so far away. I'm like, you couldn't even, you could see the players skating around and you could figure out where the puck was because of where everybody was. He's coming down the ice. I saw him move and he must have shot it because the next thing I knew he was cheering. You couldn't see a dang thing. So I thought it was kind of funny. I'm like, who put this camera up here? I'm like, whatever. I'm sure the school did it so that they don't have to worry about, oops, I left it on, and then, oh, our sponsors aren't getting the money. I guarantee it's something to do with that. But, I thought it was nice that it was there. I'm like, all right, cool, I'll get a nice video of the kids. Nope.
Well, the other part that comes into play is you've got audio. Some of the rinks you can hear audio. Some of the rinks you can't hear audio. All you hear is like fan noise. So is that could actually be questionable. Are you being recorded without your knowledge? I mean, I don't know if it's by walking in the door that, you're consenting to, your audio being recorded, but, I'm sure at some point it'll get ugly when the right person or the right organization with enough money that wants to fight it, or, a class action group of attorneys decides, they got deep pockets.
It's not going to be me.
Might be worth it. Yeah, I'm
not
just
going to be me starting it.
Yeah.
So,
with all your money, you could just get your own team of attorneys together and do that, Brad.
Yes. Yeah. Uh-huh. There'll be the most money the day that I die. So that's what day we should plan on this starting, okay?
All right. Hopefully that's not for a while, okay? Long time. Long time.
I hope not.
Long time.
But
yeah, Mr. Bialco says, I tell guys, give me a lane. Yeah, so do I, Mark. Yeah. Do they give it to you, Mark? Or do they give it to you for like 5 seconds until the next shift or the next time the puck moves and the stick comes right back out?
I to be honest with you, I don't care that much. You
don't lie.
The other thing is,
you're kidding. You don't lie.
I lied over the weekend.
As a referee, you can move around. You got freedom. You can go where you want. When you're lining, you're just right there, baby. You're the target. You're right there. Start on the visitor bench and get yourself there for 4 face-offs at center ice to begin with at a Central States game. Or, you got 4 face-offs. You got to be there. And now all the goals. And, everything else. It's,
I had 3 guys poke me in the back of the helmet
think
lining.
About being
they
a
all
peon.
apologized.
When you're a peon, you got to get in front of the visitor bench all day long. The smart linesman goes and takes the home side, and he starts away from everything. He's smart.
Yeah, the far side.
That's right. Right. So yeah.
Funny.
All right. What else you want to cover today, my friend? It's been 2 weeks. You got anything you want to get off your chest?
Honestly, I don't. There hasn't been. Everything's been going good. I know officials are tired. I can see it. It's stressful. We get that. So just remember, if you revert back to the USA Hockey Rule Book, everybody's going to be fine. But just remember, this is playoffs, and it's the culmination of everybody's season, including yours. Because let's say you do have state finals and stuff like that. Well, you're out there working. There could be somebody there watching.
Oh,
you don't know
absolutely.
it. They never come talk to you. And they're just there to see if they can use you in this level game.
Yep.
So remember, everything counts now. Again, it's referee is, out there to referee the game and not be remembered afterwards. The only time you want to be remembered afterwards is when there's a supervisor in the building, and not for how terrible you were. You want it to be the other way. Okay. Yeah. So just remember that, because you might only get the one chance, this season. But also think about it this way. If you screw up this year, guess what? There's always next year. The referees.
You can screw that up too.
That's true. But you know what? There's also a lot of things, with playoffs and stuff that factor in, just so everybody thinks about this. Remember the San Jose game and playoff game, Game 7, where the guy got cross-checked in the face. Do you remember that? And they were down 5-4 or whatever, or 5-2 or whatever, but I can't even remember who got cross-checked, but he got cross-checked right in the mouth, right? Major game in the NHL, right? Well, during that, the team that had the 5-minute power play scored 3 goals to tie the game up, or 2 goals.
I do
and then
vaguely remember that. Yeah.
The one to go over. I was watching that game, and I felt so bad for all 4 officials on the ice because I was like, there's nothing they could do about it. But after that, your season, it's over. You're very, very unlikely going to move on. I think one guy, possibly did from that. Can't remember, though, so don't everybody tear me up. Yeah. But, it's just sometimes these freak things happen. You happen to be on the ice, and it just becomes, the pyramid gets so small for that last game. If something happens and something didn't happen on the other side, they're going to have a better chance. So don't try to think about it and beat yourself up.
You want smooth in the quarters and semis so you can get to the finals, okay?
Yeah,
want smooth.
Yeah, exactly.
Live to see another day in that situation. It's really the case. Some of it is luck. I mean, let's face it. No matter how good you are and how many games you work, you're going to have situations that are, pressure filled. And in speaking to some of our referees, referees, most of them have another job, like 90% of them. Okay. One of the reasons they've been hired at a lot of these other jobs and companies for very good jobs is they have that ability to work under that kind of pressure, that kind of scrutiny, and to be able to deal with adversity all day long. I mean, what a great thing for your resume to be able to say, hey, I refereed for, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Anybody that knows anything about sports knows, oh man, okay, this guy can handle pressure. I mean, make no doubt about it. Like, I don't have to worry about him folding on a phone call over something because he's used to being in a pressure situation and working things out, most likely, if he's done it that long.
Well, if a phone call, I mean, just a phone call, that's fine. Nobody's standing in front of me with a stick. That's the way I look at it. They don't have any access to weapons right in front of me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm this far away from the person.
They got phone cojones. Yeah. Phone cojones can be really tough.
So, and you know what? Sometimes people like to be heard, and that's just how they express themselves. So I can remember that on the phone as well as I can remember it in playoff hockey.
Yeah. Well, phone cojones, or they got review power. Write a review. All right.
All right.
All right. Playoffs continue, guys. What do we have? How many weeks have we got left, Brad, before the championships? What are we looking at now?
Well, I have no idea how that TV just went on. That was interesting. The championships here are the weekend of the 4th, 5th, and 6th. Yeah. And then districts for our district are in Chicago, the 16th, 17th, 18th. It's in there. It's somewhere in there. Those dates. It's close to there.
I was trying to give you a couple minutes to shine there, Brad, so that you
I don't have a lot to shine about on it. So, but no, right now I know some of the finals are starting for some of the leagues. One of the leagues actually closed out all their finals last weekend. The other league,
Central States is done, right?
Yeah, they're all done. They played everything last weekend.
Yeah.
Nihil starts their first half this weekend, and then they have their second half the next weekend because they play all those finals at Joliet.
Okay. Yeah.
So
cool.
Yep.
Right. Lots of good games out there still, and then once this ends, it's time for spring season. Spring session starts, I believe, either April 1st or the first weekend of April, something like that, and goes to almost the end of May. So not all the organizations play, but I mean, some of the teams do play. I saw somebody from one of the organizations, and I asked about just kind of an update. We talked about Highland Park. Highland Park Rink had a situation, like a structural situation, from doing some repairs. So they were saying that they're hoping, I mean, there was talk that they would get up in February, but they're now kind of hoping by April, which was the original. I think March was really the original intended date, and then they thought they were ahead of schedule. Now I think they're talking April's a bonus, but they told me that it's probably, no restrooms, no locker room, like nothing. Like if they get the ice up, it's just a bonus to have it. But it's interesting, for those of you that have been to Highland Park, they told me they had to put in another road that goes out to 41 behind the rink. So everybody, if you were used to getting off at Route 22, if you're from the Chicago
You mean
area,
I don't have to drive through the dark forest preserve anymore and almost get killed?
yeah, through
what you're
all
saying?
the Park District stuff. But I guess they put a road in back there, I'm told. And I drove by the other night on the way to like Lake Forest, and I was like, oh yeah, there is a street back here now. I think it's called like Park View or something like that, you know, because there's Park Avenue in that area, but this is like Park View. I didn't get off because I was on my way to a game, but you can make a turn there, and I guess that takes you almost right to the rink. So I'm sure that's really back road country, you know, going back there as well. I don't know if there's housing back there or not, because that was all Park District property. I just don't know why they didn't put a second rink in with all the work they had to do. They certainly could afford it, I'm sure, and, you know, would have used it because
Maybe they don't
some
have
of the
the land.
organizations and schools need that ice, and they're a busy rink. So, I mean, since they did that, I would have thought they could have put a second sheet in. Would have been nice. But so that'll be back online, guys, probably in April. But I don't think we will be seeing anything until next season for like high school games and you know, the other organizations that play out of there. So, but I thought I'd share that.
And Homewood Flossmoor should be opening next month as well.
Oh, has that? I know that used to be online. I thought that was permanently gone. So it is coming back.
Yep.
Did they have
I saw somebody that works at the rink.
Did they have structural
had
issues?
Their refrigeration skid was the problem. So they pulled everything out and they redid the rink underlayment. I don't know if it was sand or concrete in there, but they put in concrete, and so they did some work on it. So that'll be back up and running. So
Good.
another rink that you won't go to, Scott.
You know, I just don't get down in that area very often.
Yeah, it's too
That's
far.
the reality of it. There, you know, there's a few places up north I don't go, and a few places down south that I don't really go. It's just not. There's just no good route. If there was a better route to get there, you know, I'd go for it. I've done a lot more rinks than I have though in the past. I've moved to a lot of different places that I don't normally go to, and it's been great. Some of them I didn't miss, and I'm not sure I still miss them, to be honest with you, if you know which ones I'm referring to.
No, I hear you.
Some are better than others. Let's just say that, and you know, hopefully they take that with a grain of salt and maybe make some improvements, or you know, do some work to them at some point. So, you know, I know that one coach was complaining about a rink the other day for his league. Like, this is just not up to par. Like, it is just way too cold in this place, uncomfortable for them. You know, if it's uncomfortable for them, it's uncomfortable for the official. But they're like, you know, something just needs to change here. And we don't have any control over that. That's a coach or, you know, a league person that's saying that. So I'll just share it. I won't share a name or anything or what rink it is. So I can't get myself in any trouble, hopefully. But I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. You know, we all see the buildings. We know where it's nice to work and where it's a little more challenging. And I hope, you know, parents and coaches and players, you know, you should really take that into consideration. You know, you got guys out working in some pretty extreme, tough conditions in some of these buildings. It's not as pleasant. So, you know, thank them when they come out there and work your games, because, you know, they have options. They have choices when they're choosing where they want to go to work. It's not like they say, you're going here. You say, I'd like to work one of these games. Will you put me here? Well, you don't have to check the box off for that rink. So, you know, take that into consideration, folks. You know, the refs are doing you a service when they do choose some of those, what I'll call challenging rinks to work in, whether it be lighting, whether it be temperature, whether it be conditions. You know, that's it. So fix your place up. Get more referees to come to your games. All right. What else, Brad? That's it? Are we good?
That's it.
All right, man. We'll be back next Monday right here starting at 5:30. Good to talk to you. It's been a while. I haven't even talked to you since you came back from Detroit. So this is our first
I talked to you in Detroit, didn't I?
I think we left messages.
I talked to you when I got back, I thought. Yeah, I can't remember.
I don't think so.
We'll talk about that after.
You know, I'd remember that if I got a call from the referee in chief.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, all right.
All right. Everybody have a great week. We'll see you next week, 5:30 p.m. here on the Ref Room. If you like the show or you want to help support the channel, buymeacoffee.com/refroom. buymeacoffee.com/refroom. It's always appreciated, and it helps keep us going. No, it doesn't get us caffeine, but it helps pay the bills. So we appreciate it. With that being said, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button so you know when we come on. And next time will be Monday at 5:30 p.m. Chicago time. Have a great week, everybody. I'm Scott Smokin' Silz for Brad Baumruck. Good luck with the playoffs, everybody. We'll talk to you. Peace out.